I want to zoom in on one voting bloc this morning. That would be young voters in the battleground state of Pennsylvania. Right now, polling there shows that Vice President Kamala Harris leads among young voters. It's quite the divide, 50 to 34%. Now, to get a better understanding, here with us is senior at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, Andrew Muth, a Democrat, and senior at Penn State and president of PSU College Republicans, Ryan Klein. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. So we talk about youth voters often. I'm excited to hear that both of you are voting, you're involved. Tell me, what do you want to see from your candidate at the debate on Tuesday? Andrew, there's a lot of pressure on Harris. I'll start with you.
Look, I want to see Kamala Harris deliver her vision for a future for all Americans, particularly for young Americans. And I think she has done that in her economic policies that she's laid out. I think she's done that talking about investments in climate change, reducing fossil fuel emissions, and investments across the board in our generation concerning student loans and housing affordability as well. So I think Kamala Harris needs to deliver that message to the American people and deliver that message to young voters.
Ryan, same question for you. What are you hoping to hear from Trump in Tuesday's debate?
Yeah, so this is my first time voting in a presidential election. I'm super proud to cast my first ever ballot for President Trump. Over the last couple of years, my friends and I have shared concerns over the economy. Right now, inflation and prices are up, wages and savings are down under the disastrous policies of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. President Trump, in his tenure in the White House, was a lot more affordable, and the American dream was in reach for our generation. And so a vote for President Trump is a vote for affordability, prosperity, and the American dream for my generation.
Andrew, Ryan, both of you know who you're voting for, but a lot of your fellow students are still undecided. Ryan, what do you think they need to hear on Tuesday, that undecided voter?
I think they need to hear, at least from President Trump, how he's going to turn the economy around. I mean, for college students, a lot of us are going to enter the workforce pretty soon. We're going to move into big cities, and right now housing is unaffordable and the everyday costs are really high. So how is he going to fix that? The global stage is a disaster. How is he going to fix that? The border is wide open. How is President Trump going to deliver? And I think if he articulates his message well, he stays on point, he's going to do really well, and I think he's going to change a lot of minds for people in my generation.
Andrew, what are you hearing from your friends? What are they most concerned about, especially if they have not decided who they're voting for? What are they focusing on for November?
Look, what I'm hearing on the ground here at IUP is the fight for reproductive freedom is at the forefront of this election. Trump's abortion bans are going into implementation state after state. You look at what's happening in states like Kentucky with these extreme abortion bans because of Donald Trump. That is really at the forefront of what I'm hearing from particularly young women voters on college campuses. And ultimately, I think that is what's going to guide their vote for Kamala Harris. And I think Kamala's policy on codifying Roe v. Wade into federal law is something that's going to resonate with young voters. As far as the economy goes, I think that's another thing that is going to be important for our generation of voters. However, we have the strongest economy in the world. No other country has as low inflation as the United States does right now. And we're expecting rate cuts from the Fed in September later this month. So the economy is going to continue to get better. And I feel very good about the economic situation the country is in right now.
Ryan, you're a Republican. You're in Pennsylvania, a crucial swing state. When it comes to the candidate pitches to sway those Pennsylvania young voters, what are you seeing? What are these candidates saying?
They're just saying how they're going to bring down prices for the everyday American. I mean, I've had, a lot of exposure with candidates running for Congress, running for the Senate, and they're really concerned about the direction for my generation and our future, because ultimately the decisions that policymakers make now are going to be what we have to deal with down the line. It's what we're going to have to pay for as Gen Z. And so making life affordable again is something that I'm hearing a lot from our politicians. And I really hope that, when they're in office, we can continue to bring prices down.
Andrew, do you think there's been enough focus on young voters, at least for this presidential cycle?
I think there's been an increased focus on young voters in this cycle. I think the power of Gen Z was shown in 2020. Our generation turned out in record numbers for President Biden. And I think that showed the Democratic Party that there's a pathway to victory through Gen Z. And I think there's been much heightened focus on Gen Z in this election cycle. So yes, I agree.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.